This short video is intended to provide you with a simple and concise explanation of ratios. First of all, what is a ratio? It is a description of a proportional relationship between two items. For example, we may say 45 out of 56 people agreed that the environment should be a principal issue in political discourse. Now that's simple enough. But sometimes we need to find a way of maintaining that numerical relationship, that proportional relationship between these 45 people and the total sample that was interviewed, 56, and hypothesize in another group with a different sample size how many people would have to agree that the environment is of prime importance for us to have the same proportional relationship. And there's a very simple way of doing this. It's about the principal thing that comes from algebra that you need in order to understand the basic rudiments of statistics and percentage descriptions. So let me put together a hypothetical example here. If 45 out of 56 people agree that the environment should be of prime consideration, how many, here we have another group, how many out of 180 would need to agree in order for us to have the same relationship? So the how many is the big question mark. This is our question. This we cannot know until we make a simple calculation. And here's what we do. We multiply cross-diagonally. We multiply the two figures that we do know cross-diagonally, the 45 and the 180. So let me do that for you. 45 times 180 equals 8,100. And then we divide that number by this number here that stands on its own. So we divide by 56, and our answer is 144.6. And we put that in, 144.6 gives us the same proportional value as does 45 over 56. It is not more complicated than that. Let us say you're in business and someone says, I'll give you 3 apples for your 10 oranges. And you want to make a similar deal that has the same proportion. Well, you would use this formula to find out if you've got 30 apples, how many of those apples should you give the other to have the same relationship as the offer that they made to you. Now, let's look at percentages in the same vein of thought. 50% in a decimal system is also represented as 0.5, which also means half. 100% is represented as 1.00. There's your 100. We could put another decimal here. So this would be representing all of your sample. 50% can be expressed as a percentage, or it can be expressed as a decimal, or it can be expressed as a ratio. In which case, you would have 1/2, 1/2. And if you look at your percentages, there's 1 here, and 100% is twice as much as 50%. So if you have a ratio such as 20 over 100, to get your percentage value, you would simply divide, get my symbol straight here, let's get our calculator. You would simply divide 20. Whenever you have that line, it means this has to be divided into the top number. You would divide your 20 by 100, and you would get 0.20, which is the decimal representation of 20%. Remember here, 0.50 was 50%, and 0.20 is 20%. It's really as simple as that. When you don't have the answer, cross multiply the two that are there, the two numbers that are there diagonally, and then divide by the other, and you will get the answer you seek. Ratios describe relationships between numbers in a proportional sense. If we want to make sure that only 1/3 of our class comes to a certain meeting, for example, we would need to know the size of the class. If it is 500, then we have to convert that into a ratio. So what we would do, as a final example, we want 1/3 of the class there. 1/3 in a ratio terms is 1/3. So our question becomes, to keep the same relationship as 1/3, what number would we need out of 500? Again, our question mark. And our calculator tells us we multiply 1 times 500. 1 times 500. We obtain 500, and then we divide by 3. 166 or so people would have to come for us to have 1/3 of the class there. It's really very simple when you know the formula, and this is your formula here. Always, the question will be revealed once you cross multiply and then divide.